Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Altcoin Analysis. You knew I had to do this video, of course, the Chainlink review. We're going to review Chainlink today, boys. And obviously, this is my favorite project, the project that I have been super invested in and have been following for a long time. But I wanted to give it a fair go at it. I wanted to make a video that was rather neutral, rather unbiased, that talked about the positives and the negatives. So, in the style that I've been doing my other altcoin reviews. So, yeah, let's get to it. So Chainlink, this nice picture of Sergey up here, if you can see that. It looks lovely. So next slide. So we're going to talk about the history of Chainlink. So the ICO was launched in October 2017. Obviously, as most of you know, they raised $32 million USD. Although it wasn't really that popular at the time of an ICO because it was an ICO bull market, they pretty much got filled regardless. And then for most of 2018, following the ICO, they were relatively quiet. There were some conferences that Sergey and his team went to, so they were Swift conferences. And famously, there is one of the early conferences that was in later that year, or I think it might have been in 2018, but the conference room was actually put right next to the bathroom stalls, which was this huge meme that went around 4chan for a long time. About basically that Chainlink was the toilet coin and the true shit coin king. So that was great. But yeah, besides those small outings by the team, they were really quiet for the most part. And so for most of 2018, they spent that year just quietly building and working on things. They didn't really venture outside of their Slack group very much. Even their Twitter wasn't particularly active. They just mentioned things here and there, new acquisitions, new hires, things like that. But it wasn't really anything that was very much of a marketing effort, if we can put it that way. Now, following 2018, going into this year, the mainnet launched in May of this year. The mainnet obviously was a big milestone for Chainlink. They were working on this for a long time. I remember a Sergey quote in particular. He was saying, I don't know, actually it might have been Sergey or it might have been Rory, who was the community manager at the time, but they did mention that they were working on the mainnet for most of 2018, and the reason it was taking so long, because it was taking quite a lot longer than expected, was that the amount of money, and this was their words, I'm paraphrasing obviously, but the amount of money at stake and the partnerships and the people they were doing business with would not accept a solution that was not perfect. And so they were working on perfecting all of the kinks, all of those things, all of the problems, all of the exploits that they could find. And so obviously the mainnet coming out for Chainlink was a huge milestone because of that, because they had put so much effort and time into perfecting this thing. So the mainnet, one of the most important things. And then ever since, it looks to me like it's just been more of the same in terms of development. But ever since that mainnet, obviously, Chainlink has taken a little bit of a wider step in terms of marketing, in terms of getting people involved. Obviously, there's the Coinbase listing that was one of the big news for Chainlink. There was the Google partnership that was pretty big news. There's the Swift partnership that we've always known for a long time, but again, reconfirmed. And so there's all these larger partnerships that are starting to take form and take place for Chainlink, which is very interesting. Obviously, very intriguing for an investor if you're an investor. So next slide. So here's a price chart of Chainlink. I don't know if my video is not in the way. So this is the price chart of Chainlink. Again, orange line is the Bitcoin pair, green line is USD, and it tracks pretty well. We were at around the highs here. The very high over there is the Coinbase listing when we got listed there. I think the highest it went to on Coinbase was something around $5. Obviously, you don't see that on the chart here because it was such a short time. But it was on Coinbase, and it did hit that $5-6 mark. And ever since then, it's been in a little bit of a downtrend, or a lot of a downtrend, depending on how all in you went at the top there. But it's looking pretty decent, I would say, so far. Obviously, I sold around there just a little stack. So I had a Chainlink stack from ICO, and I had another stack that I swinged, and then I've traded that back and forth. But I'm now looking to purchase a much larger position, so I'm accumulating Chainlink again. Obviously, as time goes on, we see more and more of the development. We see more of the ability of the team to execute, and so that gives me a lot more confidence in buying more of these tokens. Whereas before, it was really a lot of personal research that I had to do, and looking into the Slack and looking into the GitHub, and they didn't have a GitHub, but they had something like a GitHub. But looking into this and seeing what development was taking place, it had to be a lot of work done on my end. There's less legwork that's required now. Now I know Chainlink is, for the most part, an established coin. It is an established team in the crypto space, and certainly one that is one of the larger ones now. I think they're ranked now, as of this video, at around rank 17 on CoinMarketCap. That may change a little bit by the time you see this video. But yeah, it's obviously I'm accumulating. I'm a big fan of Link. But again, we'll give this an unbiased review moving forward. Obviously, from a technical perspective, a lot of technical traders are bearish on this asset as of right now. It's been in a downtrend. Obviously, we had the Coinbase listing. And so for that reason, people are thinking that it is technically not particularly bullish. So there you have that. There's a little bit more information for you. I personally, again, I think it's in a decent spot. I would not be all-inning Link here. Let's put it that way. But I'm certainly interested in buying some. And you'll see why. So Chainlink, what are the features of it? So it is blockchain middleware that provides off-chain data. Simple. Basically, if you have your Ethereum smart contracts and you want to track the results of a game, or you want to track the exchange rate of yuan USD, well, you need to use some method of getting that data from the real world onto a machine readable format. This is what Chainlink does. That is all it does. It gives you the data feed, and it gives you the data feed in a decentralized way. So it decentralizes data aggregation, which is very important. You have to think about it. If your data is centralized, it doesn't matter if you're feeding it into a decentralized system, you're still computing off of that centralized data. If you're feeding it decentralized data, all of a sudden it opens the world up to all sorts of different applications. It opens you up to all sorts of applications that perhaps require a level of security that decentralized data aggregation enables. So this is very, very important. So this is one of the things that Chainlink does. It provides node operators with staking incentives. So there's one of the constricting things on the supply, where if you want to be a Link operator, you need to have a lot of Link, taking a lot of the supply out. And it's also the most powerful Oracle solution on the market. Without a doubt, it is the most powerful due to that data aggregation. It is on mainnet, so you can use it now. And really the only competitors that are somewhere in that neighborhood. So we're talking about Oraclize, we're talking about Infura, but none of these are really providing the decentralized aspect that Chainlink is providing. So that's why I put this as a feature, because it is, in fact, very unique with what it does, the most powerful Oracle solution. Positives of Chainlink. They have a massive amount of partnerships. Nearly everyone and anyone in blockchain currently in crypto is using Chainlink, has announced they're going to use Chainlink, or is considering Chainlink, because of the ability of and breadth and depth of information that you can get onto your contract, onto your smart contract with Chainlink. Most projects up until now, before Chainlink, have had to create either create their own oracles, or they've had to use a centralized oracle provider. Neither of those options are really ideal. In the case of a centralized oracle provider, obviously it's centralized. In the case of you having to build your own oracle, that takes a long time. You don't really know if it'll work. It's a lot better to trust a completely different API and just hook that up and hook that into your existing project. So this is why it's really important. And we see that a lot of people are using Chainlink. For example, I know Harmony is doing a Chainlink partnership. They're going to use Chainlink. Acropolis is going to use Chainlink. I believe Thunder is going to use Chainlink. Nearly every big project in the space is going to be using Chainlink and utilizing Chainlink. So you can imagine the effect that's going to have on the token in terms of utility and price appreciation. So another positive, it's a unique solution that doesn't have real competitors. I mentioned this before. Again, look yourself. If you are a developer, where the hell else are you going to get your Oracle data? Oraclize, Infura, that's about it. But Chainlink is really the only one that provides the security that you're looking for. If you're trading a hell of a lot of money, millions of dollars on the line, you probably don't want to have a centralized data source. So third positive, there is a large war chest that the Chainlink team has of 300 million Link. It's less now because they've been selling some, but they have a lot of Link for continued development of the project. They are selling now for that very specific purpose, obviously. And so they have a lot of money. Right now, the market cap of Chainlink is something like north of $1 billion, and so they own 300 million, which is about 30% of the circulating supply. So they own about $300 million worth of Chainlink, which is a hell of a lot of money for providing incentives, providing developer time and money and resources. And so the Chainlink team is sitting pretty. They're sitting comfy. They know that they can work and build on this thing into the future, and that way they don't need to worry about money. They don't need to worry about resources. They only need to worry about creating the best possible product, the best possible blockchain middleware. Another positive, they're positioned as crucial technology that most contracts must use, and this is really the reason why there's so many partnerships coming in for Chainlink, because they have no other choice but to use Chainlink when compared to the alternatives. So this is, again, Chainlink positioning itself as something you must use. It is almost like the gold rush, right? Where the gold rush brought a lot of money, but the people who really got rich were the people selling the shovels. Well, Chainlink is looking to sell the shovels here, which is amazing if you are a Chainlink holder. So great positive there. And obviously a results-focused development team. Very little marketing efforts. They've been mostly interested in doing acquisitions, hires, getting people on board on the team, and developing and delivering milestones, which is always great to see, especially in crypto where people can generally be more apt and inclined to delay or be a lot more greedy in the case of other projects and things like that. Not really seeing any of that with the Chainlink team. Very, very good integrity. Negatives. So Chainlink is a very high market cap as of right now. As of this video, again, they're north of $1 billion. That is a hell of a lot of market cap, especially for a project that so far, while they do have partnerships and they do have everything, they're doing everything correct, we still haven't seen Chainlink really provide something as of yet. So we have a very large market that is very largely speculation driven. And yes, there are fundamentals behind it, but we have yet to truly see those fundamentals in action. We have yet to really see an app that is utilizing Chainlink, that is utilizing it to its full potential. And so to buy at a high market cap like that for a largely untested product, very difficult. It's a very hard ask. So there's also another negative. There's recent FUD, fear, uncertainty, doubt around the team selling tokens. So the team has been selling a lot of their tokens. And obviously because the price of the tokens is so high, people are calling foul on that. They're saying that the Chainlink team is just greedy. They're getting out. And honestly, I made a tweet on this before. I will go to bat a little bit here, but I won't go too much because this is on the negative slide. I will say, in general, devs gotta eat. They did work for a year without any pay, without doing anything with their team tokens. They kind of let this price appreciation happen. So if you're gonna call greed, you would think that they would have sold a lot earlier when they already had something like $100 million or $200 million. Why wait this long? So it really makes you consider. And then also, why wait this long and sell so few tokens? So from that perspective, you really kind of understand. But certainly a negative because there's teams selling tokens. If the team continues to sell tokens, there's going to be a lot more tokens that are flooding the market. So you have to keep that in mind as an investor. Do you really want to buy an asset where there's a lot of people selling and dumping the tokens on the market? It's for you to decide. Another negative is they're very reliant on the market and they're very reliant on the tech adoption. So market adoption of crypto in general is going to help Link, yes, but it also means that Link needs the market adoption. So it's this virtuous or vicious cycle depending on if times are good or bad. So very reliant on that. Currently, I'm not really seeing too much crypto adoption. This might be something that takes 5 or 10 years into the future. Are you really going to be holding an asset that long? Is that your time frame? For some people, the answer is yes. For others, it might be no. And then many coins are centralized. So we'll go back to this team developer. There's two tranches basically of tokens. One is for the team. They own 300 million tokens, a little bit less than that now. And then there's another 300 million tokens, which is used for network incentives. The last 300 million tokens is it's currently just in circulation for the public. Anyone can buy them. But there's two tranches of tokens that are very, very centralized, which is 60% of the supply, which is a hell of a lot of tokens in just a few wallets. So it's very, very centralized. You do have to wonder that if there's any kind of systemic risk to having that crazy amount of centralization. I personally, when I look at projects like Ripple and I look at their rich lists and I realize that the top let's say 10 holders own some ridiculous amount, like 95% of the tokens. I worry about that, and I say that those are bad fundamentals. You do not want to buy a token that is that centralized. And likewise here for Chainlink, if they own 60% of the supply, it is certainly going to put a damper on if you want to buy them, especially at such high market caps, because that means that they can just dump the tokens basically to hell with just a small percentage of that amount that they own. So definitely a negative for Chainlink. Finally, we'll go to my verdict, and I'm cutting this off here. Oh, we went back. Hold on a sec. So here we are at the verdict, and my verdict is buy. Now, this isn't a huge buy. This isn't an all-in buy. This is a relatively small buy, but bigger than a small buy, I would say. So first, talk about the positives. I think the Chainlink team is likely to continue gathering partnerships. I think it's definitely one of the things that they are focused on. We have seen that despite the Coinbase listing, the Google announcement, they are continuing to deliver. They're continuing to do more and more partnerships. They're not just going to stop no matter what the partnership is, even if it's some very, very prestigious company. They're going to continue delivering those partnerships. So that makes me, as an investor, very bullish on the future. Who knows who they're going to partnership with next? Apple? Facebook? Their strong, unique proposal means that there's a little market dilution, so you're probably never going to see any real competitor get up to the level of Chainlink, because if you were to start your own Oracle competition, you now have to compete against not only all of the market adoption that Chainlink has done, but also the years of development. So you are years behind now compared to Chainlink. And so that means that you are relatively safe in making a general industry purchase. If you are bullish on oracles, you can buy Chainlink, and you can be relatively sure that if oracles succeed, Chainlink is going to be the flagship title of that oracle industry. The third thing is the huge community of believers leads to price support. We have seen this a lot, especially the price is continually getting hammered, and despite that, it's actually maintaining its recent highs, and so that makes me bullish as an investor. Again, the huge community means that there's going to be more people holding rather than just buying this thing to flip. You always want less flippers if you're a long-term person, because you want more holders on your side. Finally, there's a lot of third parties building with Link. We've talked about all the crypto companies. There's also a lot of non-crypto companies that are interested in building with Chainlink. Mentioned Swift earlier. That's one of them. So obviously this is very, very bullish and very good for them. On the other hand, the large market cap means growth will be difficult. So it's hard to say put in a large amount of your portfolio in Chainlink because of this large market cap. Perhaps 6 months ago, when things were much lower at, I think, $200 million or $100 million market cap, I would have been a lot more bullish on this asset. But as of now, there's a hell of a lot more downside and a lot less upside for Chainlink, which means that you need to be very, very careful buying this thing. And finally, the final negative is that there's no disclosure by the team when and how and why really they're selling their tokens. Again, it's a personal guess of mine that they're doing it to fund development, but it's hard to say. And again, because there's no disclosure, it's a very hard ask to say put a large amount of your portfolio in this. So for me, this is a buy. Again, I'm bullish on Chainlink, I'm bullish on oracles, but I wouldn't say go all in on this thing. I would say put in a small amount, 10-15% of your portfolio if you're that kind of investor. Just look for good small buying opportunities, maybe buy on dips, things like that. I personally do not have a full position in Link yet. I'm slowly averaging in because I'm bullish on it, but I'm not the kind of guy who's always going to go all in on something. Again, there's a lot of downside here for Chainlink. There's a lot of upside here for Chainlink. So it really comes down to you as an individual investor. Do you think oracles are valuable? Do you think the adoption is going to come? Do you think Chainlink is going to be able to outperform Bitcoin in the medium and long term? So those are all questions that you need to answer. And in my case, again, my verdict is buy. But obviously, there are negatives that you can cite and reasons why you may wish to skip out on this otherwise very interesting coin. So that is it. Some Chainlink memes here that I personally love with the Apus there. And yeah, that's it. So that's my review of Chainlink. I think it's a great coin. Definitely buying it myself. Something I'm bullish on. But yeah, leave a like, leave a comment on this video. I'm really interested what you guys think about Chainlink. I know as someone who has been talking about Chainlink for a long time, you can kind of get into this bubble of fundamental analysis. And so I'd like to hear it. If you're bearish on Chainlink, let me know why. Why do you think Chainlink is perhaps not going to appreciate in value? Why do you think it's not valuable? I'm very interested in hearing those arguments. So yeah, leave a like if you like this video. Again, leave a comment. Let me know what you think, and I will see you guys next time.